I get it, brother. When you're out with that girl, you're worried that you'll say the wrong thing. You're worried you'll mess up a line. You're worried that you won't perfectly execute all the material that you've learned. Well, I have good news for you, my friend. Perfect is boring. We're going live.
We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
Good morning, everybody. This is Friday, and we're not edging the algorithm this morning. We're not edging the algorithm, okay? Man, I don't know if you guys tuned in, but so I did my live stream on Wednesday morning, like normal. And then Wednesday evening, I was supposed to go live with Paul Benjamin to talk about his new course. I probably can't even say it because we're at the 8-minute mark. His course on how spies seduce, right? And that son of a gun was 40 minutes late, 40 minutes late for the live stream. And then last night I went live with Nuke, Nuclear Cadillo on his channel, and he was late. And I think we ended up starting like 10 minutes late. So I was like, we are not edging the algorithm today. Okay. We are not doing that. We are professional podcasters, but it kind of goes into hand in hand with the topic, right? None of us are perfect, especially us podcasters. We're not perfect, but that's okay because perfect is boring. Okay. Right. And that is the chapter that we're going to be reading from the book of Pook today. For me, it's chapter 20 in the paperback, but if you guys are reading along on bookofpook.com, it's chapter 19. I'll drop a link to that in the chat. And for you guys new to this series, this is the Book of Pook series where I'm reading chapters out of this book. Now some of these I'm going to combine a whole bunch of chapters together because I can do that. Like for instance, episode 2 was on the 15 lessons for a young man. Well, that's spread out through 15 chapters or 16 chapters if you have the paperback. So that one I just made one episode about, right? And we just condensed it. We didn't read the whole thing. Other ones I'm just going to read. Like today, I'm just going to read it and then give you my thoughts as we go through it. And then others I'm probably going to just give you the top 10 concepts, right? It really just depends on what's going on. But the story today is actually a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one because I know a lot of guys in that have worked with me over the years. They're literally worried about doing everything perfect, right? Did I say that line right? Did I have my body language perfect, right? Like they want to make sure that everything goes like paint by numbers when you're out on a date. And it just doesn't work that way, right? Like life happens. Women throw curveballs at you. Women don't always act the way we anticipate they'll act, right? And you have to be able to adapt to that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And it's okay if you don't get everything perfect, right? And what we're going to learn today in this book is that women don't want a guy that's perfect, you know? What's Angels Among Us say? She says, we like cowboys, tough, rough, but kind. Yeah. But the point is that if you're doing everything perfect, right? Like the only thing that's like really kind of perfect is a computer. You know, my dad used to say that. The only thing that does everything perfectly is a computer. And you might say, what? My computer acts up all the time, right? And a lot of times that's because of the human error in the programming, right? Or garbage input, garbage out. But the computer executes things perfectly. It executes its commands perfectly. And if you're acting like that, you're acting like a robot. You have no personality, you know? What? That's boring, man. That's boring. And you could be anything to a woman, but you can't be boring, right? Right. All right, guys. Before we get into story time with Paul and Pook, baby, do be sure to like, subscribe, and hit those notifications. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Well, sometimes it's pre-recorded, but I have a show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday like clockwork. Okay. Guys, do participate today, right? Sound off in the live chat. That makes these go by much smoother. It's just fun to talk to you. Just to be honest, I like talking with you guys and interacting with you guys. If you have something fun to say, I'm going to bring it up on the screen. Okay. But don't be stingy with those super chats because that supports the show probably more than anything else. And if you get value out of these episodes, do consider tipping your waiter. I'm out here busking for you guys. You know, I got my hat down on the subway. So yeah, so if you guys aren't aware, this book was it's a compilation. It's a compilation of forum posts from around 2000, written by a guy going by the handle of Pook. Like nobody knows who Pook is or was. And but he used to write forum posts in the old So Suave forums where Rollo Tomasi came out of. And someone took all of his posts and compiled them all into the Book of Pook. And a lot of men over the years, like thousands of men over the years, have learned quite a bit from this book. He's been instrumental in the space. It's sort of pre-red pill, right? Rollo even quotes Pook in his books. So that's how influential Pook was, right? So you can get this book on Amazon. There's actually 3 volumes of it now, and they've broken it. So now the original Book of Pook is now Book of Pook Volume 1 on Amazon if you get the paperbacks. But you can get it for free. You can just read it for free if you go to bookofpook.com. I dropped a link to today's chapter. And if you guys prefer audiobooks, you can't listen to it on Audible, okay? But my good friend and Rule Zero panelist, member, co-host guy, Jack Napier, who I'm supposed to be on Red Evening with tonight, by the way. Jack did an audio version of the Book of Pook, and there's a link to that in the description if you guys prefer audio. And you can get it for free if you join his channel membership on his YouTube channel. So if you look for Jack Napier Knows and join his membership, you can get the Book of Pook for free, or you can just buy it from Gumroad. The link's down in the description there, but it's not available on Audible. So, but if you prefer audiobooks, get Jack's version. Okay. Support my friend Jack. Right. So let's start this off, right? Perfect is boring. The gratitude of the ladies has crowned me with the label Don Juan. And if you guys remember from episode 1, there was this whole theme in the So Suave forums of getting to be a Don Juan, right? Like once you mastered the material and you participated in the forums long enough, like they would bestow upon you the title of Don Juan, right? Like a guy who's good with the ladies. And they even had the Don Juan Bible available on So Suave. It's still available. You can Google it. And that itself is just a compilation of forum posts. And a lot of them are Pook. A lot of the posts are Pook in the Don Juan Bible. He says, I should have definitely declined the title if I saw it as most do. When a gentleman logs onto a website, he thinks, I will absorb everything that is Don Juan. Quote, Don Juan, what is he? What ought he do? All we know is the word catches all our imaginations, all our dreams as we envision him, clad in black, macking the girls from all points in sight. Oh, that Don Juan. He does everything perfect with the ladies. If only we could absorb all techniques, all fashions, all behaviors, and engage with no fear, all the ladies would be ours. Isn't that true? Do you know how many guys I know who, because I came out of a men's group where we were studying Corey Wade's material, right? We were all studying how to be a 3% man. And in Corey's book, he tells you to read his book 10 to 15 times, right? There are so many guys that will not even go out and talk to a girl until they've read the book 15 times. And I'm like, you're doing it wrong, bro. Like you're absolutely doing it wrong. Just because you got to that magic 15 time mark won't make you automatically good with the girls. Like that still takes practice. That still takes muscle memory. And when you go out and you talk to these girls and then go back and read the material, you're going to have experienced something that you never experienced before, and then some of the book is going to make more sense now. Do you see? Do you see how that repetition and that reinforcement will help you build your skill set better by going out and not being perfect the first time and just trying it out? Let me just try it out. Oh, you know what? I didn't do that right that time, but that's okay. I'll remember to do it this way next time. Or, you know, I did it incorrectly according to the book, but it worked for me. So maybe I'll just keep doing it the way I did it because it felt more natural to me. You know what I'm saying? It's not paint by numbers. Okay. This viewpoint is so prevalent and dominant. I now understand why some people are glued to this forum. Perhaps there was a way to scrape us off our reading materials once and for all. And that's another thing guys do in this space, right? It ends up being mental masturbation, right? They get either they get addicted to self help books, or they get addicted to dating books or pickup books or whatever, and they've got to start reading all of them. And I've done it. I just like these books though, right? But they will mass consume all these books and not go out and actually talk to a girl. Because if I just read that next book, that's the key. That's the key right there. It's like, no, bro. The key is just going out and trying some of this stuff. Just try it, right? You're not going to get it right the first time, and that's okay because nobody's perfect. And perfect is boring, right? Perfect is boring. All right, guys, before we get too far into this chapter, do follow me on social media. The links are in the description. And if you're not following me on social media, then what are you doing with your life? Okay. And then get on the email list, guys. List.comeonmanpod.com. It's I don't spam you. All right. I have been sending emails out like once on a Monday. Okay, but that's because my course is half off right now. Other than that, I'll give you some free stickers. I got this new one here. Girl, you know I'm a bad boy, right? So I'll actually drop stickers in the mail for you. But if you don't want stickers, that's cool. Just put don't want stickers in the address field. I won't waste a stamp on you, okay? But you do get 20 dating app openers that are guaranteed to capture a woman's attention in the first 7 words, because women use dating apps differently than men do. Women are getting all the matches, right? Guys aren't getting all the matches. So every match a guy gets, he's trying to make a connection with. The women already have all the matches. So what they're trying to do is filter out all their options, right? So they're looking at how you're opening in the preview pane. They're not even opening up half the messages. They're just looking at like what captures my attention, right? And if you open with, hey, what's going on? What you doing? You look like trouble. Just boring ass stuff that every other guy out there is copying and pasting. You're not going to stand out, right? But if you use one of these, it's unique and it'll capture attention in the first 7 words, because that's about the amount of words that are going to be in the preview pane. So it's going to capture her attention in the preview pane. She's going to look at that and go, oh, what's this guy all about? And then I'm going to look at his pictures. If your pictures are trash, she's going to disregard you, right? But if your pictures are good, your bio's cool, you open with a funny, engaging opener, okay, I'm going to talk to this guy. That's how that works. Okay. Dating apps don't suck. Most guys just suck at using the dating apps. Okay. So get that. You also get a free chapter of my book when you sign up for the email list. Speaking of the book, you can get that at books.comeonmanpod.com. That'll take you to my Amazon authors page where you can get the Audible edition, the Kindle edition, paperback, and hardcover. Okay. And then I did mention my dating course. If you guys go to this course, it'll teach you not only how to optimize your dating profile for, with better pictures. I'll tell you exactly the kind of pictures you need to really stand out and get more matches. Okay. I'll tell you how to format your bio so you don't sound like a negative Nancy. Okay. Because a lot of guys, their profiles suck. Okay. Like their profile bios are just full of negativity. I don't want a single mom. I don't want a woman who smokes. If you have tattoos, swipe left, bitch. Right? Like they put that kind of stuff in there and then go, I don't know why I'm not getting any matches. It's like, dude, no one wants to date a negative person. Okay. So let's clean that up. Let's make you more of an interesting person. All right. Because you're marketing yourself. That's all online dating is marketing. Okay. But a lot of you guys are sick of the dating apps. So I teach you guys a very interesting way that almost nobody's doing out there on how to find and meet women on social media. And I'm talking to Facebook proper, not Facebook dating, because that's just a dating app. I'm talking about Facebook proper and Instagram, where you can find local women in your area and how to slide into their DMs using video messages. It's like a virtual cold approach. Okay. Almost no guys doing it. You'll stand out. You also have better options of with women out there. It's like Amazon's shopping for the kind of women you want. Let me play a commercial for that, and then we'll get back to the book of Pook. 70% of relationships start online nowadays, but you're tired of being stuck in the dating app dead end. Swipe after swipe, and all you get is ghosted or worse, bot matches. The problem isn't you. It's that most dating apps are designed to favor the top 20% of guys. And if your profile isn't up to par, you're just another swipe left. The solution? No cold approach in the cow pasture. While the course may have a funny name, it will show you how to optimize your dating profile. It will show you how to take perfect photos and write bios that get you noticed. You'll also learn how to spot and avoid bots, catfish, and time wasters. I originally designed this course for guys who live in rural flyover country, where the opportunity to meet women organically in person just isn't possible, or your options are severely limited. But this course will work for guys in big cities too. In fact, it'll work better for guys that live in big cities because you have way more options than guys that live out in rural areas. Wherever you are, no cold approach in the cow pasture will help you meet high quality women in your area. It will help you to close for more dates than you ever thought possible. Because not only do I teach you how to optimize your online dating profile on dating apps, the real secret sauce is I show you how to meet women on Facebook and Instagram and how to slide into their DMs using a virtual cold approach method using video messages. Ready to be a part of the top 20%? Don't miss your chance. Visit dates.comeonmanpod.com. That's dates.comeonmanpod.com to sign up now. And for the entire month of May, take 50% off with code May50 at checkout. Take 50% off with code May50 at checkout, guys. Hey, I don't know if any of you guys tuned in to my show on Wednesday night. We did an emergency live stream with Paul Benjamin. And for my viewers, he gave me a link to take his sexpionage course. We can say that we're after the 8-minute mark now. You can take his sexpionage course, which teaches you speed seduction. It teaches you how to talk to women in a way that it engages them emotionally quickly, the same way spies could get in quickly and convert an asset to betray their country, right? Because Paul Benjamin worked with, let's say, some alphabet soup agencies back in the day, and he's trained on this stuff. Okay, so if you take my course, you'll get more matches and you'll close for more dates, right? And then when you're on the date, you do the stuff that Paul Benjamin teaches, and then you get laid. Okay, that's how we're going to get success for you guys. So I dropped a link to that in the chat there too. Guys, okay, we have some super chats, and then we'll get back to the story at hand today. We got Brother Nathan, $2 super chat, Beer Club. I'm going to give him this. We have a new sound drop here.
There he is, biggest swinging dick in the West.
Yes, the biggest swinging dick in the West. And then we got a $5 super chat from CW. Got to tip the reader, but don't put us to sleep. We can't be walking around looking perfect if we're sleepy. You know, did you see my tweet about that, CW, yesterday? I was like, look, if you are the kind of guy that speaks monotone and you have no inflection in your voice, and when I talk about inflection, I'm talking about changing the tone of your voice based on what you're saying. If you're just very monotone and all you do is you say like this, or you talk like this and you're very boring and you sound like Eeyore, you're fucking putting everybody to sleep. Okay. So add some inflection to your voice. If you don't know how to do it, fucking work on it. Okay. You can't be boring. Okay. Let's not do that. Anyway, this guy fucks.
Say it. This guy fucks. Am I right?
This guy fucks. Thank you. Yes. And then Brother Ed with a $5 super chat for the hard work and dedication. And he's going to get this one.
Shame this horse.
Yes, we want to shame these whores. Okay. Hey, Brother Nuke. Brother Nuke's here. Guys, if you guys missed it last night, I was on Nuke's channel. We talked about whether vetting works, right? Because the guys are like, you got to, oh, man, I love it. I love it when they're like, your marriage failed because you didn't pick right. You need to pick better, right? It's like picking a girl, like vetting a girl. And we came to the same conclusion last night, right? Like you could do all this stuff. You can like vet for a girl's personality. You can test her ability to follow, all this kind of stuff. And it might be good. Might be good for the first few years, but still not a guarantee. Doesn't mean she's not going to change down the road. There's no guarantees. Okay. So the girl that you're dating now and that you're marrying now is not the girl that divorces you 10 years from now. Okay. All right. Let's get back to the story. The perfect player. Okay. So Pook continues. He says, my roommate and I were watching one of those dating shows. I forget which. Two guys were competing for the ladies. One was a super player who was saying all the right things and getting physical with them. The other guy was a super horny dude that was loud, making crude comments and literally humping the chicks. Like, he's a super horny dude. Like, what is that? What does a guy like that look like? What do you guys think? Drop it in the comments. What does a super horny dude look like when he's out and about? I don't know. Does he just walk around with a pitch tent? You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. So he says, my roommate was in awe of the player. That guy rules. He is playing both of them. He is kissing both of them. The other guy in the pool was humping the water jets and jumping around. The ladies said about him, it is like a date with a 2-year-old. The player dude was feeling quite secure with the ladies when the ladies would say, thank goodness I'm with you. That guy is completely nuts. And this is often kind of how guys feel, right? With women's mixed messages, because they'll hear stuff like this and women will act like they don't like the one guy, but then they'll turn around and get with the guy that you would think that they don't like. Right. And you're like, what the hell is up with women? They make no sense. They make no sense. And that's because there are things women say they want. There's things that women think they want. And then there's things that women actually respond to. Okay. When it came time for the choosing, however, my roommate and I differed on whom the chicks would choose. The player dude, obviously, he was perfect. But I knew better. What? No. The girls are going to go for the super horny guy. My roommate thought I was nuts. When the girls chose, though, the player dude, Mr. Alpha Male, ended up all alone while the girls chose the horny dude. I don't believe it, my roommate cracked. So this one guy was Mr. Smooth Casanova, just saying all the right things. He was going in for kisses. The chicks were actually kissing him back or whatever. But at the end of the show, they chose the fun guy, right? The guy that was having fun. He was showing a little bit of personality, right? So then Pook says, perfect is boring, but to be human is beautiful. The player lost to the horny dude because even though the player dude did the right things to the lady, he was still boring. The horny dude had more personality than the player in every encounter. But Pook, I do not get it. A creative director from Hollywood told me this. Look at the real stars that everyone loves. Are these people the perfect model types that Grace magazine covers? No. They all have huge eccentrics of their own. In other words, Schwarzenegger is no Shakespearean actor. I think the only other character that hasn't talked as much in movies would be Lassie. Take the successful lawyer who goes to the gym all the time. Boring. What is human about him? One thing I didn't realize, if you strive towards perfection, chicks are going to expect you to be perfect. You know, this is the problem with guys that go monk mode and they're like, I'm going to work on my muscles and forget about women. And then all they do is work. They eat perfectly. like clockwork, right? They got their macros like dialed in, and they go to the gym and they work out for 3 hours a day, and they don't talk to anybody, and they're just focused on their physique. And then after 6 months of doing that and getting the perfect body, they haven't talked to chicks the entire time. They still don't know how to fucking talk to chicks. So what do they have to talk about? The gym, right? And then when they go out on a date, they can't have any fun because they can't eat any of the shit on the menu, right? So they just drink a glass of water, and then the chick's just like, what the fuck? Like, live a little, bro. Like, live a little, you know? Those guys are boring. Yeah, they're aesthetically pleasing, but they're boring as fuck, right? There's kind of a reason why chicks say they like dad bods. Now, when we say dad bods, we all know we're not talking about fat guys. Okay. Now, a lot of fat guys have appropriated that term, and they're like, I've got a dad bod. No, you're fat, bro. You're just fat. Okay. Dad bod is a guy who goes to the gym. He has a little bit of muscle definition, but maybe he's got a little bit more than 13% body fat, right? Like, he's got a little bit of body fat. He looks like he goes to the gym, he lifts good, but he likes an occasional pizza slice every now and then. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a little bit of personality. I think that's what chicks mean when they say dad bod. Okay. Like, they're not talking about a guy who's just fat, because that, but fat guys like to think that. It's kind of like fat women who are like, I'm curvy. No, you're just fat. Okay. Like, stop appropriating the language to make yourself feel better. Okay. Go to the gym. Fat fuck. Okay. Paul, you're mean. Yes, I am. Okay. We must fall in order to rise. The little goody who strives to be perfect in all his manners with everyone is going to be surpassed by the guy who lets his eccentricities rise in his dealings. I say this too, right? I say this a lot. He says we must fall in order to rise. I think it was in Batman Begins, or one of the Batman movies with Christian Bale, where he says, like, I think his dad says to him in a flashback, he's like, why do we fall? So we could get back up. I say that a lot to guys, right? When they think something didn't go right on a date, or maybe a chick says like she's not interested anymore, and they think they did something wrong, and we go through and we analyze what could have they could have done better. I'm just like, it's okay, man. Dust yourself off. We fall so we can get back up. Because if you don't make these kinds of mistakes, you have nothing to learn from. You know what I mean? So it's okay. It's okay, man. It's all right. Perfect is boring. To be human is beautiful. Modeling. You think modeling is about perfection? Yes, Pook, I believe it is. Sure, there are standards, but anyone can play the role of a mannequin. Even in modeling, there is heavy emphasis on penetrating the lens to be human. So to say, to slip your personality throughout. Oh, so when he's talking about modeling, he's not talking about like NLP modeling. He's talking about actual being a model, like a runway, like fucking Zoolander. So modeling is not necessarily about perfection. Sure as hell isn't these days. A lot of plus size models out there these days, aren't there? Jesus Christ. I posted a picture. I was at Target. And they have a bikini line for fat chicks at Target. And I was like, look, ladies, bikinis are a privilege, not a right. Okay. They're a privilege, not a right. You don't just get to wear them. Okay. You got to earn that shit. And no, not at Target. Not at Target. They had these like whales in these pictures in their bikinis with their fat rolls. They literally had fat rolls in the picture. And I was like, that's gross, man. Like, so I took a picture of that, posted on social media, and I was like, Target, what the fuck, Anyway, the fat ladies on the internet got mad at me for that one. But Paul, it's not about perfection. You could take the same plus size ladies and put them in a one piece, and it would be acceptable. Like it would be like, okay, yeah. But no, you put them in bikinis. Like, fuck off, stop. Paul, you're gonna get canceled for that one. Music. What? You think music, that divine grace that is the perfect union of art and math, is to be perfect? When you learn an instrument, there is much emphasis on tone, scales, notes, and rhythms. When you play in a symphony or band, you obviously let the director place you in a role or in your role. You could practice for decades and be perfect at playing songs, yet be totally boring. What makes the truly sensational players are the ones who put fun into the instrument, and the fun ends up coming out in the instrument. If you take a player who's going at it with a sense of play or thrill or of joy itself, a missed tone or a note offbeat is not even heard. Compare that guy to the perfect player, and the player with thrill will always win. To the guys still scared about dating and all, consider this: put fun into the woman, and fun comes out. Put happiness into the woman, and happiness comes out. What do you try to do instead? You try to be so perfect that she will go crazy over you. When a nice guy uses flowers, you use flowery acts. Unfortunately, you'll find that vaginas are not laced with gold. You know, this reminds me, I used to do acting, right? When I was in high school, I was a drama nerd. I had a letter jacket that had a big E for Evergreen High School, and it had said drama down it because I was a nerd. But I was an actor. I did a lot of acting. And we used to memorize our lines, but we also learned very quickly that if we flubbed a line, as long as we didn't show that like we knew we flubbed the lines, like if you could watch unseasoned actors will flub a line, they'll go, "Oop," right on stage. Well, now you know that guy flubbed a line. But if the guy just keeps playing through like he never flubbed up the line, the audience has no fucking clue. They have no idea. They didn't read the script, right? Same thing with the whammon. All right. If you flub your line, your slick line, she won't know as long as you just keep playing through. And another thing too, have you guys noticed? You could tell the difference between really good, like musicians and entertainers. I was watching a video with, I think it was Nelly. This was like 20 years ago, kind of fucking old. And Nelly was in the song, and he's not just like singing, but he's doing all these like crazy dancing and shit. And I was like, I like this guy, This guy's he's not just singing, he's fucking entertaining, That's why I tell brother AJ with his podcast, I was like, you put some razzle dazzle in that, man, because you can't just read your notes, you can't read your notes monotone. You gotta entertain the audience a little bit. You gotta put a little pizzazz, right? That's why I say use some inflection in your voice. Okay. But yeah, so like the really good musicians, they could play the notes perfectly, right? Be very technical musicians, but the really good musicians entertain you. You know what I mean? They put some flourish on it. They make their shit their own, Writing. Look at the finest writers in history. Shakespeare is bawdy. Milton goes into full egotistical mode. Even some of Dickens' work seems incomprehensible. If you consider the so-called perfect works to those, they don't compare. Take your professors who write these so-called brilliant academic books that no one reads. People do not admire brilliance. They do not admire technical perfection. People admire the humanity, the personality found in the works. People do not admire Napoleon for his military and artillery genius. They admire him because he had the audacity to say on a corpse-filled battleground, all these men will be replaced by a single night in Paris. That reminds me of Jordan Peterson, right? Have any of you guys read 12 Rules for Life? I couldn't finish that fucking book, dude. I couldn't finish it. I'm trying to read this book, and he just fills the whole book with $10 words to sound smart. And it's like, don't use a $10 word when a $5 word will do. Okay? Because then you just sound like a pompous ass. And so I'm reading his book thinking, God damn, where's my fucking thesaurus at? I need to have a thesaurus on standby just to understand what the fuck he's trying to say. I'm not reading your fucking book, right? He was trying to be too perfect. And my friends, perfect is boring, right? Popularity. Before we get into that, guys, do join the beer club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. You can join for as little as $10 a month. It's a good group of dudes. It's a men's group for men only. I know we had some women in the chat there earlier. You're not invited. Okay. This is for men only, for men to get together. And once women come into men's spaces, they fuck up the dynamic. Okay. It's not to say we don't like you ladies. It's just that men need to connect with other men without outside interference from women. Because as soon as women come into the space, we start self-censoring, changes the dynamic. Now guys are peacocking and shit, trying to get your attention. And that's sort of why women want to go into the men's space anyway, right? So they can get the men's attention. It's like, we're just cutting out all the bullshit and we're just having a place for men. Okay. Men can get together, talk about their shit without any interference. Okay. We can work on issues and we can work through stuff. And it's a very active Telegram community. And we talk about all sorts of stuff in there. Most of the time, Jesus, that morning phlegm. Most of the time, the guys are in there just having fun, right? We're dropping memes, making jokes, busting on each other, stuff like that. And then we get together once a month with a video call and we just talk about guy stuff, right? Nothing heavy. If you want to talk about something heavy, we're all there for you. We're all there for you. But other than that, it's just a good way to connect with other dudes. Okay. And a lot of guys just don't have an outlet like that. So check out the beer club. A lot of guys in the chat are in beer club. They'll tell you that it's a good group. Okay. It's well worth it. All right. Popularity. Take any politician. What do they try to do? Why they try to be perfect in our eyes. They speak to you as if you are a 4-year-old using focus group sayings and canned generalizations. The result is that every politician gets viewed as the same. All are boring. Which politicians are remembered? It is the one not with the failings, but with a humanity of their own. Now look from women's eyes. All these men try to be perfect to the ladies, so they all appear boring. A humanized guy, no matter what his failing, is always more desirable than a perfect, nice guy, super intellectual, or dried up player. Okay. Speaking of politicians, no matter what you think of him, okay, I don't care if you like him or hate him, there's a reason why Donald Trump was so popular, and he's still popular. I don't know if he's going to get elected again. Whether you like him or hate him, I don't know if he's going to get elected again. No one can predict the future, but if you're a conspiracy theorist and you think that something happened with the last election, what makes you think that they're going to let him win this time? I don't know. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, but he's got some bravado, right? He's got bravado. He's not perfect. In fact, Trump is like one of the most awkward dudes. He's so awkward with his hand movements. You don't know what he's doing, but he's a multi-billionaire and he says some funny ass shit, right? He's got some personality. His hair's weird. And there's a reason why people like him, right? Because he doesn't act like your typical stuffy politician, right? I remember I've met Lauren Boebert a couple times. If you guys don't know who she is, she's a congressional representative out of Colorado. And the first time I met her, she was trying to unseat Scott Tipton, who was the incumbent congressman. And she was walking around, like everyone loved her out here because she would walk around open carrying with her gun and talk about gun rights, and she's cute, right? So everyone liked her. And when I talked to her the first time, I said, Lauren, I go, look, the biggest problem I think with Congress is that we don't have term limits. We don't have term limits, right? So we get people like Nancy Pelosi that have been in there for, fucking 50 years. They don't do shit. And they all they do is line their own pockets, right? And if we had term limits, we would get you guys out and we would get new blood in periodically. So we wouldn't be stuck with people like that. What are you going to do about that, Lauren? And she tells me, up to this point, I thought she was pretty cool. She tells me, she goes, it's up to the voters to fire these politicians that they don't like. Okay. So basically she's like, I'm not going to vote myself out of a job. It was at that moment I knew she was going to go join the swamp. you know? And I was like, okay, that's not a good enough answer. I go, because that's not fucking working. I go, that's not working, Lauren. All right. If that was working, we wouldn't have Nancy Pelosi. She still gets in. How's that? How do you explain that? We need fucking term limits. Okay. Anyway, I digress. We'll go off. We're not going to get into politics here. But I've gotten red pill when it comes to politics, right? Like some people still watch politics and they cheerlead their side and they're like, oh, Democrats good, Republicans bad, or Republicans good, Democrats bad. And then you realize they're all full of shit. They're all full of shit and they're only in it for themselves and they don't give a fuck about you, right? And when you realize that, you start seeing it for what it is. You start you start seeing the code in the matrix and you're like, oh, look, they're just fucking saying whatever to get reelected. And then they turn around and shake hands and do dirty deals on things that fuck you over, right? They'll separate you based on social issues that don't matter. And then they get together and shake hands to fuck you over. That's how that works. So anyway, I digress. We're not a politics show. Why does perfection fail with the ladies? Because when you strive to be perfect, you enter an anti-life mode. You end up not really living, but fulfilling some imaginary barometer of virtue, of thought, or other human measuring stick. Quote, he who binds himself to joy does the winged life destroy, but he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise. That just when I hear this part, right, about guys being in anti-life mode, I literally think of the hardcore gym bros, right? Guys that are only eating chicken and rice, and all they do, their whole personality is going to the gym and lifting and walking around with giant water bottles and trying to be perfect. It's like guys think, oh well, that's what the chicks want, right? I watched Better Bachelor, and he said that you have to have 6-pack abs to get women. And so that's what I'm trying to do. It's like, those guys are boring as fuck. They're boring as fuck. Okay. Now a gym bro that's not afraid to have a cheat day every once in a while. Look at The Rock, right? The Rock. I mean, he's also massively on steroids. So he could do this, but The Rock will have these like epic cheat meals, right? And that gives him a little bit of personality. People are like, look at this guy. He actually enjoys life every once in a while. That's kind of cool. All right. So if you're going to be a gym bro, at least occasionally have a fucking cheat day. Okay. Live a little, bro. Don't do it all the time. So maybe not have a cheat day, but have a cheat meal, live a little. Okay. Fuck. Don't be a robot. William Blake. Now, why do we strive towards perfection? To get the perfect women? There are obviously no perfect women. Even a Playboy centerfold can turn into a fat, evil hag. Cough. Anna Nicole Smith. He actually says this in the book. Anna Nicole Smith. I'd imagine the perfection comes from the thought that the woman got will be like heavenly rain in a parched desert. All the things you're looking for in life, joy, sociality, and even sexuality must come from you. And you know what? Examine the ladies you are attracted to. They already have the joy, sociability, and sexuality. When they look at you, they may think you are perfect, but they see a joyless, frustrated creature. And that's so true, right? A lot of guys that this is one of the reasons why I like to say all women are mid, right? If you have this mentality that all women are mid, then you'll stop putting certain women on pedestals and you'll start actually realizing, if you look at them, that they have imperfections. Even the hottest chick that you see online has some kind of imperfection. Okay. She's not perfect, right? Maybe she like, it's hard to tell because women use so many fucking filters now, but a lot of women have like blemished skin. Maybe their breasts are disproportionate to their hip size, whatever, right? They have something that's off a little bit, right? They're not perfect. And that's okay. That's okay. There was this guy who went to the gym almost all the time. His diet was perfect. His workout routines were perfect. His clothing was perfect. His 8-pack was perfect. He modeled. He got involved in acting. He looked like a Greek god. When he walked about, all the ladies noticed him. He used his flesh like a masculine dress. Aside from those that used and discarded him as a boy toy, the ladies always broke up with him. How could they break up with this Adonis? He is so boring, they all said in chorus. After all, he spent most of his time in the gym or being consistent with his perfect diet. If this guy spent less time being perfect and more time being human, he would be much more successful with the ladies and much happier. This also works in reverse too, right? I often talk about when if we treat all women the same, right? You can say treat them all like they're mid, or just treat them all like you can even say treat them all like they're perfect tens, right? If you treat all women the same, what you'll find is that you're actually just treating them human. You know, if you treat women like the hot ones, if you treat the really hot ones like they're human beings and not these fucking perfect creatures that fly around with fucking angel wings and shit, if you just treat them like human beings, they like you more. Imagine that. Imagine that. It turns out women like you to be human too. Isn't that weird? It's probably their solipsism, right? There was this other guy that became a super successful lawyer. He bought the token status car and made a mini mansion. He went to the gym every other night. He had money, had status, and looked great. He thought the ladies would find him perfect. Well, they did find him perfect, but not for the reasons he wanted. They found him perfect for stability. So he married a super hot babe and had kids, which he paid for a nanny to take care of. What does the super hot babe do? She cheats on him. Do you love him? Yes. Yes, I do very much. And she speaks the truth. No, she sleeps around because she is bored. He dehumanized everything. She doesn't have to work, doesn't have to raise the kids, doesn't have to do anything. Of course, she won't leave him. And of course, she is in love with him, or rather his stability. Yet she is bored and cheats on him. If the guy was a bit more human and less perfect, she might find her husband more interesting than his foolish role of Mr. Perfection. There's a lot of guys out there that still operate under the mentality that women want a guy for what he can provide, right? And that's true to an extent. But women have their own fucking money now, right? Women have their own money now. So what's left, right? They don't need a man, they want a man, right? So what do they want him for if they don't need a man? Well, Ryan talks about it in Dread, right? You have to become a luxury brand. But and you don't have to be like, Mr. Flashy guy, but you have to be the kind of guy that provides fun, Go do fun shit with her and she's going to like you. You can't be boring, right? But if all you do is I work hard, man. I work 17, 20-hour days to put food on the table and provide for her. She should love me. It's like, she never sees you, bro. She never sees you. So what do you expect? What do you expect? You never take her out? You ever do anything fun with her? You ever, you are the perfect workhorse. Yes. But you are not the perfect relationship material. You know what I mean? They sure like that paycheck though. Anyway, consider, are you trying to perfect yourself when it comes to women, or are you trying to humanize yourself that you find interacting with women as natural as breathing? That reminds me of these guys that talk about like going on dates, like the juice isn't worth the squeeze, and why would you spend money on going on dates with these chicks and stuff when you could just get a hooker or something? And it's like, well, because I actually like spending time with these chicks, right? I actually like going on these dates. I enjoy it, right? I'm having fun. I'm paying for my own entertainment. She's just along for the ride. So like I learned to enjoy the process. And you'll have a much better time on the dating circuit. You'll have a much better time in relationship if you enjoy the process, right? If you have fun with it. And if you're having fun, she's going to have fun, because women are often mirrors of the men that they are with. So the difference is all, he says. God, dude, this is a long chapter, by the way. Shakespeare, striving to better, oft we mar what's well. Tennyson, faulty, faultless, icily regular, splendidly dull, dead perfection, no more. Hazlitt, no one ever approaches perfection except by stealth and unknown to themselves. Orwell, the essence of being human is that one does not seek perfection, that one is sometimes willing to commit sins for the sake of loyalty, that one does not push aestheticism to the point where it makes friendly intercourse impossible, and that one is prepared in the end to be defeated and broken up by life, which is the inevitable price of fastening one's love upon other human individuals. I see you now. I know your gaze is fading from the computer screen. Look at me. Pook hits the table. I'm not going to hit the table because it's going to fuck up the mic. For the love of God, listen, your life depends on this, he says. When you see a girl you want to approach or are getting cold feet about a date, remember 3 words. Guys, if you guys take anything away from this chapter, take this away, okay? Write this down. I want you to write this down. Write fucking now. Stop what you're doing. Write this down, okay? Don't worry, it's not a lot. When you see a girl you want to approach or are getting cold feet about a date, remember 3 words. Perfect is boring. 3 words. Perfect is boring. Your brain will spin out all these reasons why you are unworthy. Cheap and wimpy car, poor clothes, shortness, bad haircut, no money, not as good looking, no confidence, past failures. Do any of these sound familiar to any of you guys? Right? Because I think the number one thing that I deal with guys when I'm coaching them is self-limiting beliefs. All of these are self-limiting beliefs. Okay. I'm not 6 feet tall. I don't have 6-pack abs. I don't make 6 figures. Self-limiting beliefs. Okay. Remember these 3 words. Perfect is boring. Okay. Perfect is boring. And watch those reasons evaporate. Stand up. Already the blood is pulsing through your veins. You've always wanted to do this, but have always feared yourself. Let go. You stand up and go out the door. Go. You see a beautiful woman, but are afraid to approach. Perfect is boring. And you go and talk to her. But you like to spend your free time on the computer. So what? Talk to her. You are scared to ask for her number. Perfect is boring. She gave you the number. Again, you are scared of the date. Too many unknowns, but perfect is boring. Look, she is smiling at you. She wants to kiss you, but you have never kissed a girl before. Would you mess it up? Would you slobber over her? What of it? What of it? Perfect is boring. Smooch. She loves it. Now look at what position she is in. You know what to do. For the love of yourself, for the love of life, you are letting go and are actually becoming human. Pity those who want the perfect life. Break me, tear me apart. Let me be beaten and altered by life. Let my life be touched in return, for I will be human. For there is no reason on earth to be scared of yourself. Perfect is boring. Let it be written in the sky, painted on buildings, read with your eyes, transcribed on your soul. All those people who are alone are perfect. But those with the girl realize that being perfect is boring. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of that chapter? I think it's a profound chapter, right? You're scared. You get that that approach anxiety. You want to go talk to the girl, but you're afraid of what to say. Perfect is boring, bro. Perfect is boring. Just say something. Just blurt something out, right? You'll find that a majority of women are just people. They're just people. And a lot of guys are scared to talk to women these days, right? Because of the Me Too movement. You know what the Me Too movement? It's just like the bear thing, right? They're not talking to you. They're not talking to the alpha male guys that they want to have them approach, right? They're talking to the beta guys. They're like, yeah, don't come up and talk to me because I don't want to be bothered. So then the beta guys are like, oh, I don't want to talk to her. She's going to be bothered. Alpha guys are like, no, I'm talking to you. I'm going to talk to you. And she's like, okay. Whamming are silly, right? There's things they say they want, and then there's things that they actually respond to, right? We do have another super chat. These is $5.99, I think, euros from brother Kamal here. Not being predictable makes a man attractive. It creates emotional tension. That is true. I'm going to give you this one here.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
Yes. Oh man. What I like about I thought it was important to do a Book of Pook series, right? It's very important because he breaks things down so simply for the average dude, you know, because a lot of guys do have these self-limiting beliefs that they have to be perfect around chicks or they're never going to get these chicks. It's like they don't want you to be perfect, man. They don't want you to be perfect. A lot of guys, give me shit because I'm an average looking dude. You know, I wear t-shirts and jeans, but I also live out in the cow pasture. This is what the cowboys wear out here. But they're like, Paul, you don't wear suits and stuff. And when you go out and talk to chicks, like, no, not out here. I'll look like a fucking idiot if I did that. No one's wearing suits out here. I will dress up with nurse chick and she and I will go to some fancy places out here and people are wearing flip-flops and shit. Like we are the only ones that are dressed nice. But I like to indulge nurse chick every once in a while because, we like to dress up and be fancy and pretend like we're better than everybody. That's what we do. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got, guys. That's all I got. Hopefully you guys like this episode. You got some value out of it. If you did, at least hit that like button. Okay. That likes are free. Likes are free. That supports the show. Weaponry Fitness says, I despise flip-flops in Crocs. Dude, same. I'm one of those guys that I'm like, men, you have no business wearing flip-flops. You have no business wearing flip-flops. It's no one wants to see your tootsies, bro. Right. And then I get the guys that live in San Diego or Florida, or they're like, fuck you, bro. I take my flip-flops from my cold, dead feet. No one's trying to take your flip-flops, bro. All right. All right, guys, tune into Rule Zero tomorrow. Thor, my good friend RP Thor is hosting after a long hiatus. He wants to talk about why couples ruin their relationships. Tune into the Dragon Ship right after. Huds is hosting. And since it's Mother's Day on Sunday, he wants to talk about why dating single moms is trash. Because, single moms, am I right? Single moms, guys. I actually think that's going to be a fun episode because I'm one of the few guys in the men's self-improvement space that I don't have a problem with single moms, right? I like single moms, but I'm also a single dad, right? So my circumstances are different than yours, perhaps. And I'm my own mental point of origin, so don't give a fuck what you think, okay? But Huds is hosting, and we're going to be talking about them single moms in honor of Mother's Day. Which is Sunday, right? So call your mom, okay? Be sure to call your mom on Sunday, okay? Tune into the podcast Monday. We're going to be live again. I will be talking about how simply being married for a long time isn't the win you think it is, okay? It's not a win, all right? It's also not a fucking guarantee. And I can't remember. I think the reason why I came up with this is because some fucking asshole on TikTok of all places was like, oh, a guy in his 40s giving dating advice, like you should be married by now or something like that. Like, I'm not listening to you. And I was like, married people don't date, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Most married people don't fucking date. Why would you get dating advice from a married guy? That's just a fucking terrible idea. That's a terrible idea. Anyway, is that the real James Sexton? Is that the real James Sexton on X? If it is, hey, what's going on? All right, guys, that's all I have for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you guys haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. And thank you to everybody that sounded off in the live chat. That helps these go by much smoother. Thank you for everyone that sent super chats. That supports the show. Do follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list, guys. I'll send you some free stickers. We have this new girl. You know, I'm a bad boy one. I also have these Rule Zero stickers. You guys are Rule Zero fans. I'll mail you those, but if you don't want them, that's cool. Just put don't want stickers in the address field and I won't waste a stamp on you, but you get 20 dating app openers that are guaranteed to capture attention in the first 7 words. And you also get a free chapter of my book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, which is available on Amazon and Audible. If you guys have an Audible subscription, use your next credit. Use your next credit on it. RP Thor did the narration for it, okay? But it's a really good book. It's not just dating and relationships, although those are the most important chapters. But I also talk about getting your finances in order. I talk about fitness. I talk about basic fitness in there because a lot of guys don't know how to work out, right? I talk about fitness and diet. I talk about getting your finances in order. If you're a young buck, I talk about how to choose a career, how to negotiate salaries, all that kind of stuff. It's a handbook for life, guys. Okay. Check that out. And then do take the dating course. It is 50% off for the entire month of May. I'll drop another link to that in the chat. I think Stream Element. Yeah, Stream Elements has already dropped a link there. I'll drop a link for you Facebook guys. Other than that, we will see you guys on Rule Zero tomorrow morning on Thor's channel.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.